Hey guys, it's Tommy CM. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Let's Build Thorpe Park. In the last episode, we built the greatest ride in the park. We started off with a bang. It was the Flying Fish. The most extreme coaster you'll find at Thorpe Park is this wonderful powered coaster. Great thanks to Jan again for for putting together this coaster and the custom supports. As I say, I was struggling with the with the powered coaster. I was trying to use the Wendigo coaster, but it just would not work right. The Wendigo looks the best train, but yeah, I've had to settle for the SLV, but it does do the job perfectly in terms of the speed and the layout. So yeah, that was the last episode. Go back and check that out if you want to see that's come together. This episode, we're heading down over this path, over the bridge, and onto this small island just here. This is going to be the Swarm. Now the Swarm is a wing coaster. It's themed as like a bit of like a destruction / Armageddon kind of style. So there's an ambulance flipped up, there's a fire engine, there's a plane, you fly through a billboard. There's lots of different sort of wreckage around this area. It's going to be a really fun coaster to theme. But first of all, I've got to get the layout right. So that's what I'm going to work on first. Don't worry about the pathing. This isn't going to be the final pathing area because it isn't a full-on square. This was just to give me a rough sort of area to work around, and I will adjust the pathing as and when I need to. So yeah, let's start off by building the Swarm. Right, so we have a beginning to the area, and we have a coaster. So I'm going to pause that there, just because that is obviously a key element of the ride. So we'll come back and check that shortly. We've got a couple of trees here, and we've got kind of a wrecked bridge, which is which kind of leads you into the theme of this area. I mean, I've noticed the guests are quite low towards the to the beams, but I'll have to keep an eye on that. I may need to increase the height. And then down here we have an ambulance that is it's flipped upside down, and there's smoke coming off it, and there's people looking at it. There's also a phone box that's been kind of pushed on its side. But yeah, the main attraction is obviously the coaster. Now I'm gonna have to tweak this layout a little bit because I'm not entirely happy with this last bend, because this is just a bit too much. I think I need to swoop this in a little bit and cut off a bit of this corner just before it goes into the barrel roll. However, generally elsewhere I'm quite happy with it, and we'll watch it off ride first, because I want you to see sort of how it kind of goes around the track when you're not on the POV, because I think I do think it goes around quite well. I think I think I've just about got the layout right, or barring one or two tweaks. So here's it going into that first inversion and swooping down just there. We'll follow it round. So you go straight into another inversion there, nice and smooth, and then round this bend, underneath, and carrying on round the bend straight into the third inversion, just through there. This is the bit I need to tweak, so ignore that bit. And then this is the barrel roll that goes right above the station, straight into the brake run, where it slows down the train, ready for the last little corner. And then there's the final brake run as well, before it joins on, and there is a transfer track just here at the side. That I'm sort of, I would say 85-90% happy with. I think the first drop, I'm very sort of happy with that. I think that looks brilliant. And when I've got sort of like a plain wing going over here, when I've got the billboard down here, the fire engine, I think that will make it look really, really good when it all comes together. And I think it's perfectly laid out as well. I've tried to get the distance right, because the lift hill goes over and then drops just on this side here. The river continues, so the drop kind of sits over the water. So that's why I've extended the water around there. As you can see that there is an access road going down the back. So that's what I've done there. So as I said in the first episode, the water around the park will be developed as as things carry on. So that's how that's getting on. But yeah, that's the swarm layout. As I say, it may tweak a little bit, but generally I'm quite happy with it. And then we will see how things progress. So I'll probably give 1 or 2 updates because there's quite a lot of work to do in terms of theming and queue lines and stuff. But just so you can see it kind of slowly come together and how it's happening. So yeah, we'll see you very shortly. So here's the small bit of progress so far. So I've moved the water forward, so we've got that underneath that first main drop just there. We've started with the fencing, moving that round, and that will kind of progress as I've got props and scenery around the outside. The pathing has changed a little bit, as you can tell. So there is like a final area that people can go down here and see the train coming in on the final brake run. We've got the queue line. Now the queue line is mainly set out, so all the way up to about here, which is like where the bag drop is. I'm happy with. The rest of it I may need to tweak, because obviously one of the issues is in real life wing coasters load from both sides. It doesn't on Planet Coaster. They all hop on the same side, so I'm going to have to find a way of adjusting that and making that work. But for now, I've got this separate pathing piece here. I may try and join that on, or I'll make it look like it's joined on, and that might be my way around it. But I'm still developing that. However, the building itself, I think, is looking pretty accurate. We've got the frame up, we've got the archways, we've got the police major incident unit box that's upside down there with a tyre on top. We've got the wall panelling going off down there. And we've got these damaged pieces, and these are coming, very, very useful during this build. They are, they're very handy to have. And then we've also got the wooden panels going over the archways just there, so you can see they're all boarded up. I'm using these temple pieces as well, just to make the edges look a bit rough, so they're not all flat around the edge of the building. I think that does have has a fairly good effect. We've also got a transfer track here, so obviously the train would come here, would slide across, and then would go forward. I've not built anything there yet, but that's where the transfer track goes, and then the water is quite close to the ride just there. So yeah, it's coming on. It's coming on very nicely. I need to finish off. It's very hard to judge what's on this queue line, because I don't. You know what? Every time I've been on the Swarm, I'm pretty sure I've loaded from this side. I've gone over the bridge and loaded. I don't think I've ever been on the right hand side of Swarm. Yeah, we'll have to see. Have to see how that goes. But generally, quite happy with how that progress is going. And yeah, I will. I'll come back shortly once I've done a bit more of the theming. Right then, so we have a final update for this episode of building the Swarm. Now, before we head over there, I'm going to leave the anticipation a little bit longer. I just want to quickly show you on depth charge. I decided to put a viewpoint at the top, and people are actually using the queue line to go and see it. Now, sometimes the guests don't bother with viewpoints, but as you can see, they are genuinely going up to the top and looking over the edge of depth charge. So I'm quite happy with that. That makes it look a little bit more realistic rather than just standing there and and looking quite vacant. But yeah, back to this episode for the Swarm. So down here, we've finished off the gardens down here. This is all nice and neat. All these trees here behind the flying fish as you go round. We've got all the trees along the edge of the water just here. This is all kind of nicely kept grass, so that's why it's all quite neat here. And then you can see here, I'm in clip cam mode at the minute, so we're getting the guests' experience, just to see their view as they enter the Swarm Island. So we'll go through here. There you can just see the ride going over the top. It is in test mode at the minute. I will open it up to the guests. So as you go down here, first off you met with a plain wing, which the Swarm actually goes underneath. There's a heck of a lot of head chopper elements on the Swarm, which is one of my favourite things about it. The sort of scenery and the theming, really do make the swarm what it is. There's the rest of the plane that is kind of just sat here with smoke coming out, and you've got the other wing just there. But yeah, I do love this viewpoint. I think this looks absolutely, really, really good. And then as you get down here, we get to the fire engine, which ironically on fire. There's a bit of there's like a small pool of water. It's not part of the river. I'll just stand on this bench so you can see over the fence. Yeah, it's not part of the river or anything, but it's a small pool of water. So that's what I've got there. We've got this billboard. Don't lose your head. I'll tell you what, let's watch the train go through it. There we go. Just caught that in time. Yeah, we've got this billboard, don't lose your head. Now, this is an advert for it isn't a real tablet, but for a headache tablet called Headies Pain Relief. It says eliminates headaches fast. That's what the two tablets look like over there. That's what they are. And then it says don't lose your head. So yeah, that's the billboard. I'm really pleased with that. I think that looks, that looks as close to the real life billboard as I can possibly get on console edition, where you can't import your own images. So I've had to use the pieces in the game. But yeah, just being down here, looking at the train go around, it really, really does look nice. Very, very happy with how this has turned out. So yeah, so we've got more theming over here. As we get to the front of the queue line, we've got the swarm sign, we've got the opening times, the two entrances, etc. More trees out the back. I will now just come out of Plipcam mode so we can fly around and get a bit of a bird's eye view. Let me just get rid of the menu. So let's just have an overview shot of the area. So that is all what's been added since. I've put the river that goes all the way around the edge in there, so you can see that it is on a separate island. Decided just while I'm talking that I'm just going to open that so we can actually get some guests on there and hear some screaming noises. That makes you sound really sadistic, doesn't it? Apologies. So yeah, so this is the river that kind of goes all the way around. I do want to point out that where the helicopter is here, and where that small pool of water I just said, it looks like there isn't any water. There is water there, it's just really, really shallow, as you can see. So when you look from above, it just looks like rock. So yeah, it's not that I've not put water in, it's just that it's really, really shallow, because that's what I wanted. But yeah, just unfortunately the game seems to lose the water effect as you go further away from it. What else is there to show you? So there's this like separate island just here, which is where the last bank turn goes down. So I've kind of extended this bank turn here to get a nicer ending. We've got a stairway, you've got access stairs up to there, and access stairs onto the second brake run. Obviously we've got the transfer track like we had before. Over here we've got an access road going off the back. So this is one of the access roads that Thorpe Park has, just out the back of the swarm. This is a really, really big toilet building. It's very hard to replicate this, because on Google Maps it's kind of like it shows that it's outdoors but it's also indoors. So yeah, I've tried to replicate that as best I can. It's not my finest work, but it will do for a toilet block that no one's really going to pay that much attention to. Anything else? We've got Midway Game just here. Fight Back, which is like a shooting Midway game. It is based. Well, I say it's based. It's supposed to be set on the top of a lorry. So there is a lorry on its side there, and that's what I've tried to replicate there by kind of building off of it. So that's that. There's an online photo section just here as the guests come off the swarm, and you can see the lift hill going over just there. There is one or two custom supports in place, so this one and the next one, which are both on the path, they're both custom supports. I've tried to blend them in just so obviously, because otherwise that was a massive gap with no supports. There is some more around here as well, so this one, and that one, as well as some going along this section. It's just where there's a path underneath the ride, or there's something underneath it where the game won't put a support in, so I've just had to do that. What else is there? So yeah, so obviously there's this like half destroyed building, which good timing. The train kind of flies through before going into the barrel roll just there. So again, I've had to use the obviously destroyed pieces. There's 2 destroyed pieces in the game. There's the castle wall, and then there's like I think it's like opaque glass. They're the 2, and they've been really, really useful for this. Very limiting, but I've done what I can, and I think I've done an okay job. Without blowing my own trumpet, I think I've done okay with it. I'm sure there's people out there that could have done a slightly better job, but I'll take what I've got anyway. Just below the lift hill down here, we've got like a dumping ground. In this section, we've got like, you know, weeds and stuff overgrowing, and yeah, some cones, like an advertising board that's not used anymore, etc. That's like a junk area. We have got paths on both sides. So in the queue line, you'll follow the queue line all the way down here, and you get to the bag drop, and then you pick which side you want to go. You either go to the far side, which is what these people are doing, or you go on the near side. And you go down the near side just here, all the way down, and then I've put in some fences on this side so to give the effect of both sides being able to load. Unfortunately, as I say, Planet Coaster doesn't allow for both sides of a wing coaster to load at once, so that's the best I could do there. And then there's exits on both sides as well, which is what I've got just here, so you can follow this out under this path just here and down. And then that will join you up with the other exit on this side, just through here. And I think, oh yeah, there's the operating booth just here, just where the if this guy wasn't pressing buttons, this is where she would be. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how this looks. This has been a lot of time, a lot of hours spent making. You know, making this as good as I wanted it to be. It isn't as simple as just building a track and putting a few pieces around it. It's a very complicated theming. Like especially on Planet Coaster console, you have to acknowledge that on console we are limited to what is in the game, as I've always said on all of my videos. And so, trying to find pieces that work, you know, trying to build a plane. For example, it's not easy. I've got the wing just here. Oh, what does that say? What does that say? Subscribe to... Okay, I'll do that after this. Make sure you do too. Wink, wink. Yeah, anyway, going back to what I was saying. Building things like planes, you know, building a billboard with a hole in it, for you know, and a bit missing off the edge, and making it look a bit like a billboard. I appreciate that's not the most accurate looking billboard, but I think it's as close as I can get. Things like that, a destroyed building, putting planks of wood on. There's so many little intricate details that have gone into this, and I'm very happy with how it's turned out as a whole. If you have, you know, if you have enjoyed or, you know, are very happy with what you're seeing here, then please do let me know. Please do stick around for the rest of the series. And now it is time for a POV on the Swarm. So we will head down to the station. I tell you what, we'll go through the queue line where all the guests go. We go down here. This is obviously the either disabled or the extended queue line. So the queue goes all the way down here. It goes back on itself. It's a very cattle pen like queue line. It's all back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is like a shop halfway around that is very rarely open. Come around here, get to the bag drop your bags off, and then we'll go up the stairs and across. And as you get into the station, this is the view you get. Now, for me, this is like, as someone who doesn't live near London and doesn't go to Thorpe Park that often, this is my sort of vision of the Swarm station. So yeah, very happy with that. We'll head down here, and we will go and get in line for when the next train just rolls into the station. Look at the timing. So let's I'm hoping this is train 1. Yep, train 1. We'll sit on the left hand side. We'll stick with this one. Let's just fast forward it so that the guests can get on. And yeah, I shall see you after the POV, and we'll look at the swarm at night time as well, because I have gone round and done the lighting. So yeah, stick around and see what the swarm looks like at night, and see what you think of that. Let's fast forward this. Come on. And can we go yet? Are we still loading? He's taking ages. Hurry up. There we go. Right, enjoy. And there we have the swarm. For me, I'm not a fan of the POVs on here. I do prefer looking at the coasters off the track. I think this is one of the examples where I think off the track looks better than the POV does. But yeah, you do get that on some rides. But yeah, yeah, generally that's my sort of summary of it anyway. Now, one thing down here you may notice, I put lights on here where we have the walkway. We've got the catwalk on the side. You'll see here that I found a design flaw from Planet Coaster here, and that is that the catwalk is only just wide enough to fit the train on. So at the minute, the lights are, the guests are going through the lights. Now, I started to put lights on the lift hill, and the same thing there, the catwalk is literally on the edge. Now, from a safety point of view, right, if that train broke down on the lift hill and they had to rescue people from the bottom, how do you suppose they're getting to the front row without climbing over the seats? Surely the catwalk needs to be a little bit wider. Yeah, surely. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. We'll carry on playing that. Anyway, let's take a look at nighttime then, so we can see what this area looks like then. So if we go down here, we have lots of like tinted reds around. We've got the lamppost around the pathing area. And then the bright white lights of the queue line. But if we just watch it come around here, this is it at night. And again, I think this looks very atmospheric at night. I think it's it's quite slick. You see just enough, but not too much, so you still get the the dark effects. And yeah, I'm really quite happy with that. Obviously the fire engine lights are shining as well. Oh, there's the sirens that are going off for the swarm. And then yeah, and then inside the station, this is the station nicely lit up at night time as well. But yeah, that is that is the Swarm. And yeah, let me know what you think. I'm really intrigued to see what people think of this and how accurate it is. I appreciate, I don't think any of my builds have ever been 100%, but I'm quite happy that this is as good as I could probably do on the Swarm. I think it is, I think it is quite a good representation of it. Now for the next episode, because I know you're all desperate to think, what's he going to build next? I'm going to move down here, and if you know the Thorpe Park layout, you'll know the sort of rides that are coming. And if you go down here and turn to the right, around this sort of point, there is a big water ride, and it's probably the best water ride we have in the UK. It's called Tidal Wave, and that is going to be my next build. The layout of Tidal Wave, I don't think I can mess up. I'm saying that now, touch wood, but I don't think I can mess up the layout of Tidal Wave. It's a very simple layout. However, in terms of how wet you get, it generates some wave, hence the name. But yeah, thank you very, very much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed that episode. That has been one of my favourite builds, even though it's taken a bit of while. It has been one of my favourite builds. It's one of my favourite coasters in the UK. I love wing coasters, and yeah. So make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, please. I really, really appreciate that. And I shall see you next week, hopefully, if he gets it built in time, he says, for the next episode, which will feature Tidal Wave. So yeah, I shall see you then.